It's Dunyarzad's puppet. Traveler? You must be exhausted. Come to think of it, we've been stuck in this place for a really, really long time. Heck, even the last time we were chatting happily with Dunyarzad feels like an eternity ago. Paimon still remembers when we were sitting here, and the way her eyes sparkled when she talked about Nilou's dance of Sub-Zerus.
There will always be frustrations in life, but I know that the point of living is not to leave behind any regret.
That was what the real Dunyarzad said, wasn't it? Does that mean...
Yes, Traveler.
Oh, so she's still just a puppet. But just now, what? Where are we going this time?
You'll have a wonderful day.
If you continue to resist, the Grand Sage has already...
How did things turn out like this? Traveler?
Traveler?
Traveler? What the heck are you doing? Wait, they're not reacting. Have they been... Oh, of course! If this is the Sage's plan, they wouldn't put... So they're just...
What is this? What happened to the Grand Sage and his entourage? Like I said, they symbolize the goddess of flowers. It's just... Yes, the greater... That beautiful shade of purple. Aren't these flowers...
But didn't you just say all the real flowers went extinct after the goddess of flowers passed away?
Yeah. What's going... huh? You guys are... Hey!
They disappeared! So Nilou's the host! What a surprise! Purple body Saras don't exist in the real world anymore. But in Nilou's subconscious, they can appear as decorations on the stage. It's just like the example Nahida told us. People assumed that... So when you saw the flowers, you instantly knew it was Nilou? But if we want to end the samsara, we need... How should we make
Am I dreaming?
Huh?
So I'm right.
Wrong guess, but you aren't complete. As far as you know, people in...
Yeah, but have you heard the tale of the first sage?
Ooh, sounds familiar. Dinyarzad...
Yep, but in the part you heard, his piety and wisdom were acknowledged. All kinds of spectacular scenes appeared in front of the first sage, as if all the knowledge in the world was being painted onto a canvas right before him. He was captivated. After who knows how long, he mastered all. Afterward, he said to the Dendro Archon, "I miss my parents, my wife, and my children. I've been away from home for far too long. They must be worried." The Dendro Archon smiled. His wife, lying next to him, said, "You're off to search." In the end, the first sage took care of...
So, the first sage was dreaming ever since...
Yes, but his faith and determination...
Paimon understands where you're coming from now.
I see. Well, it just so happens that today's Sub-Zero's festival is almost over too. Since we're in a dream, let's make this final dance of Sub-Zero's as beautiful as we can. The wait is over, everyone. I dedicate this to our god, the Dance of Sub-Zeros.
I'd be lying if I said I had no regrets. I would have loved to see Nilou's dance.
Good morning, traveler. Oh, Paimon feels like she's been asleep for the longest time. Paimon's head feels super heavy. Did we oversleep? Do you even remember going to... Paimon thinks it... The Sub-Zero's fest... Have we finally escaped from the Sub-Zero? Quick! Take off your Akasha terminal! Huh? What usual spot? done, Traveler. And thank you,
I'm sorry, who are...
Dinyarzad! You're okay!
Oh, a Traveler, Paimon. I just had a dream.
You're actually Nahida, aren't you? Paimon felt like Catherine was acting weird when we met at the and... It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened. Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the Traveler's favorite bench? Let's talk about Dinyarzad first. After we parted on the last day of the Sub-Zero's festival, I left the city and saw what among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and fainter. This proved my suspicion. Once Dinyarzad could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. But this also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last, where both will gradually fade until I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible. So it looks like we did manage to save Dinyarzad in the end. And not a moment too soon. Huh? Why are you two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying. Both are fine. Everyone reacts differently. All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you saved my faithful believer. As your reward, I will answer any and all questions. At the Avidia forest, there was this incense that made the traveler fall unconscious and dream of a huge tree and a red sky. You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me. Yeah, so you do know! It seems like the Traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul. As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the disaster in Conria. The timings of these events do line up, so your suspicions are reasonable. A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, the Scarlet King? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dwellers still worship him. Okay, so what does the message mean? I still haven't. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual. Many devoted scholars go, but I believe this is the... So the tree, but... Even if you can't fit, the Traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No, we must decipher its secrets. This puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate. As to be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness. How did you do that? Poor Catherine. Does this mean you can also occupy other people's consciousnesses?
Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal. The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness. When necessary, I just borrow this bionic Snezhnayan puppet.
Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is... No wonder Paimon felt something was off about her. What about your own body? Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana?
That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumeru. At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana, ostensibly for the sake of protecting me. But I've hardly heard from them since. However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me, a symbol of her passing.
So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they! Why don't you teach them a lesson, Nahida?
In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and omnipotent. Even after her death, the Akasha is still empowering this nation. And I'm still really far away from being able to call myself the God of Wisdom. Moreover, the Academia is also more proficient at governing this country. My existence has little meaning.
Yeah, you got a lot of believers. Just look at the Sub-Zero's festival. Everyone who showed up truly loves you.
Thank you for the kind words. Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission, and every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom and enlighten the lost. There has never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. This is the first time I've seen them step out of line. I wonder what caused them to go down even though the city's residents haven't noticed anything strange. I tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I couldn't find anything suspicious. I think they're deliberately trying to...
Oh, that reminds Paimon. In Gandharva...
Regardless, I need to first investigate the sage's motive. You mean how the Akasha...
Yeah,
It's not that no one noticed. It's more like no...
misdirect.
The sages convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality and wisdom. Not dreaming is a badge of honor in Sumeru, even if the truth is that their dreams are being reaped by the Akasha. With their propaganda in place, the sages can maximize their use of the... Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha. Anyway, the perspective advocated by the sages drowned out any voices of doubt. By now, even those who never use Akasha terminals forgot it. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot. Oh, and you can go and get some sleep. What a relief.
Traveler? Paimon? Why am I here? Do either of you know?
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker. We happened to walk by, so we thought we'd wait for you to wake up.
I see. Huh. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh.